Okay, thank you very much for joining this session. We meet again in this course in the Entrepreneurship and Success Skills course. Today, before I explain about our main agendas, I would like to update first about the materials, yeah, or about the topics that we need to discuss today. So before that, I will give you some intro for our activity during after the mid-sem. Yeah. So actually, after the mid-sem, our course will be more have activities rather than the theoretical class. Yeah. So you will have several activities that will bring you to the journey how we develop the startup. Yeah. And I inform you that I still working on with my colleagues to finish the finalization of the selection of the idea, the pitch deck idea that will be invested by the investor that you already submit in your mid-sem. Yeah. So please stay tuned to know that information that hopefully next week we can inform to you and then announce to you for the IUP class and also the regular class. Yeah. So hopefully we have a lot of startup that get the funding, and then you can start your journey even in some of the processes. Yeah. So, but before that, today we will discuss more deeply about the MVP. Yeah. So I will bring you discussion about the MVP. What is the MVP? So the MVP means about the minimum viable products. Yeah. Maybe one of you or all of you already heard about this word. Yeah. Minimum viable products. Maybe more famous in our ears is about most valuable players or in NBA or something else. But in this case, is minimum viable product will be discussed for our discussion. So our discussion today actually is discuss about how we can develop the idea of our pitch deck on that we explained in our presentation in the pitch deck, that you already have the idea to build some of the the startup that work on several and specific area. So we need to realize, and then also we need to implement do the implementations or develop your idea into the products. Yeah. So of course, to build the product is not easy. Yeah. So I think we agree about it. So we need to follow the process, and then we need to consider a lot of some aspect that we need to consider in the design of the products. Yeah. So in here, of course, like if we imagine that we have a product like I display to you in this presentations, we have a donuts here. So if we have a full donuts products, which is this image here, the donut that will have some of the toppings and etc. So it will be very difficult because we will need to have a lot of a lot of ingredients. You need a lot of stuff. You need to follow the process how to cook the donuts, and then you need to plating in the right place, in the right form, and etc. And then you have products. Yeah. But of course, the consequences is you need a lot of effort to make the product happen, yeah, or to produce the product. Yeah. So you need a lot of money. You need a lot of people that help you to cook the donuts, to prepare the ingredients, and etc. And of course, after you have the product, maybe the customer is doesn't aware or not or not exactly like your product because of some consideration, for example. So that's why we in the product development life cycle, maybe you already know about the prototype. Yeah, this is like the prototype is like the product that not the product actually, not 100% functional product. It is like a concept. It is like yes, prototype. It's just a sample. It's just a few of your products. if we use the product to be the prototype for the startup, of course the user or customer will doesn't have any experience to use your products. So that's why we need a middle point between prototype and product, which is we call the minimum viable product, as consideration and as a compromisation between the prototype and product. And of course, the minimum viable product, the focus is how can be accepted by the users. Yeah. So that's the illustration what we will discuss today. So the goals of this session is actually to give you some framework or logical thinking how we develop the product, not only just build full feature of products, yeah, but we and also doesn't need to do step by step product feature development, but we need to think something that more important, more close with the customer, that we call the minimum viable product. To that's our targets here. So that our focus. So in the minimum viable product, we try to think that product that have a minimum viable, but it's also work as product. Yeah. So that will be the challenge of our discussion. So I think based on this illustration, I think you can also think that to have a minimum viable product, of course, the effort and the time and the resource that we try to involve in this process, it doesn't allow us like we produce a product. Yeah. So we need some fit resources that can you can produce the minimum viable product, and then we can do something that better from the prototype, and then we can working on the product itself. Yeah. So let's discuss more deeply about the minimum viable products. Yeah. What exactly what is the minimum viable product actually? Yeah. So of course, the minimum viable product actually a specification of the type of the product that is not 100% product, and also is not a prototype, but something, some states of the product that have this one, the most rudimentary bare bones foundation of the solution possible. Yeah. So it's mean like we establishing the baseline of the features on your products. Yeah. So you have a good idea in your pitch deck. You also imagine all the features that you want to build in your product. In the minimum viable product, you need to select which features that very important and very basic and foundation for the for your products, for the early stage of the product. So that will be the criteria of the minimum. And the second is a viable. So the viable means it's sufficient enough for early adopters. So it's mean the feature that you select for is sufficient for early adopters to use your product. It's mean the customer can use your product even in the minimum or baseline features. Yeah. But based on that, the customer can have some some experience that your product is work well actually, even on the minimum features. Yeah. And of course, the product is something tangible customer can touch and feel. So it's not only just a very minimum features, but also something, the feature that the customer can touch and feel. Yeah. So that will be the definition of the minimum viable products. So you can define by your own word what is minimum viable product, but the most important thing is you need to identify in the minimum viable product is a bare bone foundation of the solution possible, sufficient enough for early adopters, and something tangible that customer can touch and feel. That's the most important definition of the minimum viable products. Yeah. So let's discuss first what is difference between the MVP and also I already stated before the prototype and the proof of concept. Yeah, but maybe in the software engineering, you already know about the prototype. Yeah, so you do some early version of your software, and then you build based on that requirement, and then you do the rapid prototyping, and then you have your own product, even is in the very early stage of your product. But in the product itself, actually we have three criteria or three classification, or the three, not three stage, I think, but yeah, it's classification, yeah, about the product. The first is the product that call as proof of concept, yeah, and then the second is prototype, and then the last is MVP. So based on the goals, proof of concept, the goals is to reduce technology risk for a specific task. So this is like, proof of concept is not like 100% accepted work, yeah, but in the concept way is work, yeah. So that's the difference, yeah. And then the prototype is support development decision and decrease the number of mistakes, yeah. Using the prototype, it's mean like we try to observe what the possibility that we can do on the software development, for example. And so that's why we can use the best option on your software development technique or approach to realize your full feature of your products, yeah. But in the MVP, it's very different because we're learning by collecting user feedback. So you can see in here, we using the user feedback as the first stage on the development of the products. Even we doesn't have any product, but we try to have user feedback first. So in here, actually, we want to clarify and to ensure that your product and the feature of your product can be accepted by the users, yeah. And then how about the process, the how, yeah, in here. For the proof of concept, the how is try to investigate the product's one aspects, yeah. We focus in one aspect of the products. But in the prototype, we also do investigation, but in the several aspect of the products, yeah. And the MVP, we choose or we select the release as a public version of the product. So we try to and investigate the aspect that mostly will be published for the version of the product. So you need to identify the analysis based on your, for example, for your application, for example. So you need to think about what is the features or the option on this, on this application that can be released in the first place for the public product, for example. And the proof of concept is used by the product team. It's also the prototyping is also the product team, but the MVP for early adopter. So this will be very easy for us to enter the development of the products, yeah. And when to use the proof of concept is we can use when you are not sure if your idea can be developed, yeah. So you need to to double check whether your idea is work or not. So that's why we need the proof of concept. But you can use the prototype when you are not sure if your idea will work, yeah. So that it will be more implementable, yeah. So in here is more specific because we are focused on the testing product market fit. So you can see in here we do the testing, but what is testing is about the product market fit, yeah. So we try to very clear identification which market that will be used our products, yeah. So that will be important for you to know about this differentiation with three classification, which is proof of concept, prototype, and also the MVP. Yeah. So this is the illustration actually. The MVP is not like in the top of the image in here. Yeah. We want to build a car. We're not used to build this object first, and then the second and the third. It cannot be like that one. So MVP, like we go to the more philosophy way. We not only just build a car actually, but transportations, transportation tools. Yeah, it can be car, it can be motorcycle, it can be something else. So that's why we differentiate with the several approach. Yeah, we try to clarify to the user that for transportation, what you need. For example, you need this one, you need this bicycle, motorcycle, or car. So we will have some feedback from the customer, from the user, which one is more appropriate with them. Yeah, so that will be the I call the challenge for you to implement the MVP. Yeah. So this is like very different logical thinking. Right? Yeah, when you do your product development and then using the MVP, or in the proof of concept or prototyping. In the proof of concept and prototyping, you will have this this philosophy. Yeah, you will build a full feature of product of car, for example. In yours, it's about the transportation tools. Yeah, so you can bring in the first place is like something that work for transportation, not car, but something. Yeah. So something like that. Yeah. So that will be a challenge for you to differentiate your thing about the product. Yeah. So this is the very very easy illustration about this one. Yeah. And then the next is like this one too. Yeah. So this is the another illustration. When we do some algorithm for our product, for example, yeah, I bring this illustration for you because we are in the computer science. Sometimes we working on in the some of the algorithms. Yeah, in here, selection or filtering, user-based filtering or item-based filtering algorithm, and so on. And then we will develop directly into the factorizations, or maybe some some scoring using the layer and so on. But we try to develop the the MVP using this one. So we illustrate the top product, and then we do some suggestion, and then we using the recommendation. Yeah, something like this one. So this is more easy for us to deliver the services to the customer. This is will be it can be like some of this approach, and not very complicated actually. Yeah. So it is because yeah, like I explained before, it's used for early adopter. So the way that we do is how we do in easy way, how we do in the very easy way for early adopters. Yeah. And the theory of the MVP actually something like this diagram show to you. Yeah. So the minimum actually is the stage that the crappy product that nobody wants to use. Yeah. So this is like the very limited features. Yeah. So of course the product that only have limited features is not appropriate for the user. User cannot use that one, not accept that one. If you push on the market, yeah, your product will be failed. Yeah. And then the viable is the product built by companies that better finance than you. So this is like the the product that have full features that it can be developed by another companies or startup that have better financial funding for to do that. So for startup, we can do combining the minimum and viable into the good product for startup to build, that we combining the minimum and viable. So we just need to to focus on this this intersection. Yeah, we not try to build full features of the product, but the feature that very close with the with the customer. Yeah, so that will be it will be very fast to accept by the customer. Yeah, so that will be the point. And of course, even this is minimum viable product, it's not like only in these layers. Yeah, it's not visible, it's not valuable, it's not usable, not delightful. But we try to bring the minimum viable product. It also have a delightful, usable, valuable, and visible, even in the very small proportions. Yeah, so that will be our concentration on the minimum viable products. So that's why it's very important to you that the minimum viable product is not same with the very limited features of the product, but the most important thing is how we combine the visibility, valuable, usable, and delightful for bringing to the customer, even in the very very limited. Yeah, but yeah, is in there in your products. Yeah, so that will be the challenge for you. And it's also happen when you see from like the Airbnb services. Yeah, uh, they seeing an opportunity and needing rent money. Airbnb founders rent out actual air mattress in their apartment for free, proving guests who stay with their house. Yeah, so that will be same out like it's very unique approach when people doesn't need to go to the hotels, but they just need to share to stay with the host, for example. So that would be the nice one. So that's it's also same things. Yeah, if we bring into this theory, they doesn't need to to have all these surfaces delightful, usable, valuable, visible in maximum way, but yeah, in very limited way, but accepted because it's unique. Yeah, and it's not like in the bottom line. It's not only just a bottom line. Yeah, so that will be the approach of the minimum viable products. And of course, the minimum viable product is also have the metric. Yeah, so we need to consider about it because we need to understand that when we do the MVP, we need to consider about it. Yeah, the first is we need to of course do the MVP. Yeah, so you need to discuss. Yeah, do some discussion with your friend, with your team, and then brainstorming with the idea about your product features with all the members. You identify and mapping all the features that you consider that will be in your product, and then you try to rethink again about your product. What are the minimum viable product of your of your idea, and then you make some agreement with your friend which one will be we declare as your minimum viable product. So it's mean there is no some of the criteria, the fixed criteria about which one is MVP, but it is based on your your analysis, your identifications. Yeah. So and we clarified by some tools that I will explain later to have a user feedback about your your features. Yeah. And then it is very important because you need to develop the beta launch. Yeah, this is our target as our final test. Yeah, hopefully all of the startup team can launch your beta version at least. Yeah, and then consider third party integration. So it's mean on your product we will only focus on the main main function of your product, and then if there is another feature or function that can be provided by the third party, yes, you can use as in the integration way. Yeah. And then also eliminate remove from product roadmap. Yeah, so sometimes we very focus on the product roadmap and then not very fast when we try to to release the product. Yeah. So that will be very important for you to understand about the metrics. So how we do the MVP? Yeah. So the most important thing is start with market research. So this is very important, yeah, for you, yeah. So that's why the when you develop your product of your startup, you need to consider this one, yeah. You need to very have a good attention on it. You need to do the market research, yeah. You can use some of the interview session with your targeted customer, for example. You can do some sampling, and you can make some appointment, and then you discuss online, or maybe you do some FGD focus group discussion, and then you ask them what is the viable product for that can be accepted for them. Yeah, so that would be the start market research. You can also do the market research using the survey. Yeah, you create your Google form, you asking about several several features that you think is very important on your product, and then you ask is this will be accepted by the customer or not, and etc. So that would be the way how you do your MVP. And And the nice one is the MVP, it cannot be copy paste from another's products. Yeah. So if you have your own idea, it's mean you need to have your own MVP. Yeah. So very important to have your own MVP. And then the next is you do some ideate on value addition based on the market research. You do some analysis, and then you need to revise your idea based on the market research. Yeah. So when your customer say that, okay, your login page, they doesn't want on your feature the user register to your application, but they just suggest to using the Google the Gmail account or Facebook account and so on. So when in the first place that you think that that is very important features, so in years you need to remove on from your idea. So that's why that's very simple example about how the idea on value addition is very important. So it's mean your idea about the product will be validated by the customer by itself using this MVP. And then after that you do the map out user flow. Yeah, so you need to draw the diagram about how the customer will be you know use your product and in the flowing format. Yeah, using the flow chart or something else. Yeah, and then you try to prioritize the MVP features. Yeah, you need to have some identification about which feature that you think is very have a high prioritization on as MVP. Yeah, and then you launch your MVP, and then you do some BML, build, measure, and learn. And then you go to the start market research for the next round of the MVP. So that is will be the process that you need to do on your MVP. Yeah. So with starting from the market research, ideate on value addition, map out user flow, and then you do the prioritization of the features, launch your MVP, and then you do some the analysis or exercise about the build, measure, and learn based on this MVP launch. And then after that, yeah, you do your MVP again, and then you will have another feedback, and then you do some another process. Yeah, so will be a very literate. Yeah, and for you it's very simple actually. So you need to first is define the MVP idea. So I will ask you actually, you need to discuss with your group to define the purpose of the product, and then the issue it will be resolved by your product. So this is very important, yeah, because this is very the very important position to define your idea about the MVP. And then based on this, you list down the feature of the product, all the features, because it is like a product requirement, or maybe in the software is software requirement. This is will help you understand the product to better extent. Yeah. So it means you will know well about the product feature landscape that will be work for your products. Yeah. And then after all the list feature you already list down, you do some do the prioritization about the product requirement. So you try to do a list down again the requirement that needs to be implemented in the product. Yeah. So you try to select and choose which feature that you think is very important, and then it will be accepted by the user in the minimum viable product things. Yeah. And then after that, you do the dependency, PPR dependency. Yeah, it may happen that one product feature is dependent on the another. It is important to identify them in advance. Yeah, so please consider about when you have, for example, 2 or 3 features that actually have some dependencies. Yeah, so you need to bring all that as your features, of course. Yeah, because it's dependencies. Yeah. And then you build your product and develop and launch the product with defined product requirement, and then you gather the most important element is the feedback, yeah, which enable you to know if you are on the correct path or not. Yeah, so you can see in here actually we try to minimize the risk that our product will be fail, yeah, when we launch the product. Yeah, so that's why this step is very important, yeah, for you to develop your products. Yeah. And then this is like the example how do MVP. You can see in here when we have some assumption of our idea and the feature of the product, we do the MVP interview assumption, for example. We do the interview, gather the customer information, what the alternative, and so on. And then we do the MVP product, yeah, landing page, click notification, and then a promise of something in here. And then we go to the MVP, the next MVP, to to clarify and then to have the feedback based on MVP product number one. And then we have some products, have some feedback in here, and then we have another MVP product in here. And then, yeah, we will have a final MVP interview, and then we can realize that we already have the final MVP. You can see in here, we have a process that in the not only one process, but 1, 2, 3 process until we get the final MVP. So that's how the MVP works actually, yeah. And of course, you need to realize that not all the feature will be the minimum viable products, yeah. So we need to differentiate which one is low priority features and then which one is the high priority features, yeah. So the high priority features will be our minimum viable product for the customers, yeah. So that will be the challenge for you. So yeah, you can differentiate and then list your feature based on like this this diagram, yeah. So you find out what the module first, and then what the module what is the feature on the modules, and then you classify the feature in the module, which one is low priority and which one the high priority, yeah. And of course, it's not only just a flat, yeah, the flat priority, but you can see this is the working skeletons features. It's mean like this is very mandatory features that already need to have in your product. But after that, you have the MVP line in here. So this is the illustration how we select the MVP, yeah. So that will be very important. And after that, after you identify all these features that that identify as MVP, so you need to ask to the customer if, yeah, for example, I have this application with feature customer order with these features and this feature. Do you accept this one or not? For example, what you give your scale from 1 until 5, for example. So that will be how the way you ask the customer about the MVP, yeah. So that will be so that's why all the feature you will ask to your customers, yeah. So another approach is also you can use the port, yeah. So this is like you try to list the characteristic of unsuccessful product that no one wants to use, and also you write the characteristic of most viable product on the market, yeah. So this is the extreme one, and then the extreme number 2, and then we will identify which one is the minimum viable product in here in the as intersection of this this pool, yeah. So that will be the how we can identify the minimum viable product. And also you can also use like business canvas models, yeah. This is like you identify the key partners, the key activities, and then the value proposition, customer relationship, customer segment, key resources, and under the channels that you use for your journey for your product, your cost structure and revenue stream. And then you identify what are the main component of each of the models, yeah, of the canvas models. For example, in here in the Ubers, I think you already know, it's just like a Grab or something, or Gojek, for example. Actually, the key partner is drivers, yeah. So this is the main component. If there is no driver, there is no Uber, or there is no Grab or Gojek. And so the user, yeah, the main user, the lobbyists, and then the investors, yeah, this is within the key partner. So the key activity is we need to hire the drivers, we need to have the customer services, yeah. Of course, we need to have the technology platform and taxation algorithm and so on, for example. And then we have the value proposition, what the value that we can bring to the drivers and the passengers, yeah. Passenger on demand, cheaper, convenience, yeah. And then for the passenger is driver on demand, flexible time, and no boss, yeah. and we need to have the customer relationship. We setting the support like automated. Yeah, we also bring the channel into social media application and so on. And of course, the customer segment is about the passenger and drivers. And then you will have the cost structure and also the revenue stream that you can bring the business or work well. Yeah. So that will be also the examples. Yeah. So this is the MVP experiment canvas also. So you can use this also same things. Yeah. So I think a lot of a lot of version that you can use for this one. In here, for example, is you state your customer segmentation and then what is your value proposition, and then you bring your channels, yeah, and what is the customer engagement that you want to deliver to the customers, and then what is the risk assumption, what is the risk that maybe occurs, what the experiments format, yeah, the scenario, the metrics, the success criteria, result, and learning and insight, and then the next step that you need to consider, yeah. So that will be the next one. So it is more advanced, yeah. So but for the MVP, I think I will bring you to do some exercises for the duration of the 1 week from now, yeah. So hopefully I target you, I ask you that next week you present the result of your short MVP processes, yeah. So I think I suggest you based on your pitch deck presentation on your mid-sem, try to discuss with your friend about the MVP product of your idea, yeah. So list down your features of the products and then make some selection on it, which one is high priority, and then you ask to the fit to the your target users about your feature products. Yeah, you can ask to your friend, students, and maybe your family, your father or your mother. You can use that one, and I suggest each of group at least can collect about 10 respondents that fill in the survey. Yeah, so just bring in the Google form for easy way, and then you will have a chart, and then you can explain later what is the response on it. Yeah. So what your activity is, it is also the activity that will be a substitute for the last week session actually. Yeah. So I bring to the here is you need to develop the MVP product from your pitch deck. Yeah. Identify what are the minimum viable product feature that you want to bring to your journey, and then bring the product feature that you state as minimum viable product on your survey. Develop your survey tools. Yeah, you can use the Google, maybe you could call it Google Form, Mentimeter, or other tools. Up to you. Select your target user and distribute to them. I give you some 1 week, yeah, and then try to respond for 1 week. Yeah, you can explain also. Maybe I suggest maybe you can make some one landing page. Give your pitch deck video that you submit to me in the mid-sem in the front page, and then and after that you ask some question about the product. Yeah, and then I would like I will ask you to present the result and the process in the next weeks. Yeah, so that will be another score that we want to consider to bring you to the selected startup that will be selected by next week. Yeah, so that will be our activity for the MVP. Yeah, so hopefully you catch the idea about the MVP, and you can learn from many resources. Actually, in the internet, it's a lot of, or in YouTube, it's a lot of explanation about MVP. You can also learn from them. Yeah. So that will be my update for today. So if you have any question.